So, how do I help my customer become the hero in their story? Do they even see themselves in the story?
Well, as I said, you don't start with a demo or a pitch deck, right? You have those initial exploratory or what are known as discovery uh, discussions with the customer. And any sales process has that phase in it, right? And the role of that is to uncover what the needs, what the challenges are, what the goals for that particular customers. What I'm proposing to add here to make it into a hero story is adding what I call value discovery, because I'm a value-based pricing consultant, right? Um, and so what the salesperson needs to do is to connect the dots between what the customer is doing, listening carefully, and how they could help them. Like, we've run into this problem before with other customers, and we were able to solve that. And I can tell you like a quick story about like how this can kind of work. So there was a SaaS company that sold a solution to medical practices that managed um, patient appointments. It was a patient management system. And one of their differentiators was that they automated a lot of the appointments and reschedulings and things like that. When their salespeople, engage that process, they would not talk to the doctors typically. They would talk to the office manager, the administrator, the person that you see behind the counter when you come in there. And what's that person's life like? Well, it's chaos, right? It's crazy. Phones ringing constantly. Hold them in it. Hold them in it. They're running around with their hair on fire. And so when they were engaging with these folks to hear about what their issues are, well, one of the issues that comes up a lot are no-shows or canceled appointments at the last minute for whatever reason, right? You know how hard it is to get a doctor's appointment and how little time doctors have. So especially for larger practices, that's lost revenue.
Right.
That's lost revenue. Okay. Not only that, but the office administrator also is working really hard, especially if they haven't invested in this sort of system before, where they're doing a lot of manual processing, calling people, et cetera, et cetera. I have a dentist that I go to. They still call me like the day before the appointment. Are you showing up? That sort of thing. So what the salespeople did is they listened to those challenges and they started offering, well, if a lot of this was automated, you wouldn't have to be able to do this, and then you won't have cancellations, etc. Now, obviously, that's a great value to them, right? But what makes them the hero is that they have to, in turn, uh, get approval from the medical practice owners, who are the doctors, to invest in such a system. And how do you become the hero? Well, you show them how much more money they're going to make, right? We don't have to hire that extra person to make the phone calls. Hey, look, we lose X number of, on average, 20, 30 appointments cancel or have to be rescheduled a month, which is not unusual for a medical practice. And this is the lost revenue and stuff. What's really interesting about this, Rob, is that when you take the time to connect the dots between the need and what your differentiator is, the quantification of what that is, and that's value, right? Value, it means what I get when I use your service, right, or your product. And I'm talking in the B2B context. It's easy to quantify these things once you have that sort of discussion, right? You could say that you could come up with a quick calculation that, hey, you know what? We're losing $250,000 of revenue a year because of cancellations. I mean, once that appointment is, it was like, years ago, I worked for a parking company. When that spot is not filled, that revenue is lost forever. Same thing with appointments, right? Or like an airline seat. If it's not filled, you're not making money. And so that is a business case. So the tangible payback makes that person then the hero, and they get something out of it. Not only is their status rise in the organization as a business partner, but their life becomes a lot simpler. And so this, in essence, is what good value selling is about.